When it comes to selecting shapes, there's a quick way to select all the shapes on your page, and that's by pressing the key combination Control A. Control A selects all the shapes. If you don't want to use a shortcut key, then on the Home tab in the ribbon and in the Editing group to the right, you've got a Select button. If I click the Select button, I can choose Select All, and that's the same as pressing Control A. And then just click Away to unselect them all. I can also select by dragging, and that's what this option here means, Area Select. So if I want to select shapes in an area, I'll just drag around them, and that's another way of selecting shapes in an area. If I want to selectively choose shapes, I can hold either the Shift or the Control key, whichever is easiest for you, so I'll hold the Control, and I can click on each shape that I want to select. Having selected shapes, I can format these shapes. Formatting options appear on the Home tab and firstly in the Font group. For example, I may want to change the font of these two selected shapes. The font at the moment is Calibri, but I might change it to say Arial. So you just choose a different font from the list. And I've gone with Arial. You can also choose a different font size. So I could choose perhaps 12. The larger the number, the larger the text. I can also grow the font and shrink the font using these two buttons. This one makes the font size larger, and this one, when I click it each time, will decrease the font size until I'm happy with the size. So I'm sticking with 12. The other thing you can do is turn on the bold or turn off the bold by clicking the bold button. You can turn on the italics or turn off the italics by clicking this italics button. And the same with the underline button. You can click this button to underline and click it again not to underline. This particular button is designed for strike through. If I want to strike out the text, I'll click this button and click it again to unstrike. This particular button is great for changing the case. If I wish I'd type that text in uppercase, I don't need to retype it. I just hit this button and choose all caps. When I choose all caps, the text automatically all appears in capitals. If I hit the button again, I can change it to just capitalize each word. So now I have a capital D, a capital D, a capital I, and a capital J. Or I can change it back to just normal. And that's how I typed it to begin with. So change case is very useful too. And finally, in this font group, we have the font color. If I hit this drop down, I can choose a color. And I can just roll over them to see the effect of the various choices. So I'm going for a dark blue. You also have a font dialog box launcher. If what you want to do to the text in terms of font is not immediately available as a button in this ribbon, hit the font dialog box launcher, or F11 as it describes here in the description, and those are all your choices regarding fonts. Font itself, the style, the size, the case, and other options. But I'll go cancel. Now in the paragraph group, you also have additional options. For example, horizontally, I can send the text to the left of their shapes, to the right of their shapes, or to the center of their shape. I can also send them towards the top of the shape, the middle of the shape, or vertically to the bottom of the shape. So I'm going to go for horizontal and vertical center. So I want it in the middle and I want it in the center. Other things you can do, for example, is you can indent text. Every time I click this, I'll indent the text further and further to the right, and this one here will decrease the indent and send it back to the left. I also have this particular button here to rotate text. Each time I click it, I'll effectively rotate the text in the shapes. And lastly, I have this button here to apply bullets to my text, which I can turn on by clicking and turn off by clicking again. And I might center it back to how it was. If I require any paragraph formatting options, again above and beyond what's immediately apparent in the ribbon, I'll go for the paragraph dialog box launcher, which is Shift F11. And these are all my indenting, spacing and alignment options. But I'll choose cancel. If I'd like to select text in a shape, let's click away from these two shapes and click on this shape. I like to use the key F2. The function key F2 enables me to edit text, and it automatically highlights all the text in this particular shape. I can then click, and I can just use the shift and arrow keys to select the piece of text I want to change, if I don't want to change all of it. If I was to press the home key, I'll go to the beginning of a line, and Control Shift right arrow selects a word at a time if I don't want to select just a character at a time. But I'll just click away from it.